Brush these guys down. And yeah, last night, I was actually thinking about painting last night, or rather streaming last night, but I ended up getting completely caught up in the Super Bowl. No, actually, no. I watched a bit of the Super Bowl, but I was very much caught up with drilling holes in these models and pinning them to the stem here, the clear plastic stem. Yeah, that took a decent a decent amount of time. I'm not really that great at pinning, so I tried to take my time and do it right. Cause yeah, I initially just glued them just flush, the stem to the model. I initially just tried to do that, and it wasn't working. It would stick, but any amount of pressure would just make them fall off, which is not good. So here we are. There we are. That is good enough. Let's go. Huh. So this guy, he's gonna be blue. Let's just start. And I'll probably leave the his his bottom this primered color because there's no point in painting it. We're just going to be putting some glue on that. Oop, and also the feet too. There's probably going to be some glue on the feet, but let's try and get as much as we can on there. I actually almost forgot it was Valentine's Day. I barely recognize Valentine's Day, especially these days. Not that I have a problem with it. I'm just, yeah, it doesn't really register to me. All right. This might be useful to have one of those pin alligator clips to paint this guy, so I'm not holding it directly. Oh, yeah. I was at two hobby stores today, and I didn't even think about getting a painting handle. Again, that's something where I feel like I should make a shopping list so I can remember some of this stuff, so that when I'm there I can look for it. It's not even a guaranteed thing that they might even have what I'm looking for, but oh yes, okay, shoot. I just remembered the number one rule that I always keep forgetting is to paint the eyes. So two of these models have their faces exposed. So let's try and do the eyes first. Uh, well, at least after I do this. This is a little different than painting my Guardians that I was working on, where the Guardians I primed white. This time this is like a very dark gray, almost black. So this is kind of different. We'll see how this works out. And I really haven't given much thought to the color scheme of the jet bike and how I'm going to like do any part separation of colors or anything. Haven't really thought about that, so I'm just gonna be making it up as we go. And at the end of the day, I feel like the more simple it is, the better. Even if it means just coloring everything uniformly blue or something, that's probably a better strat than like separating every single color. It's definitely how I would have painted things before. It's just and another thing I need to keep in mind is how I'm going to be storing these guys long term and potentially for transportation. I haven't really given that much thought at all. So that's something to think about for the future, I guess. For now, it's not a big deal. I just kind of put them somewhere, even if it means they get dusty. Uh, shove them in a box. Yeah, this stage I'm kind of sloppy with the paint. It's probably better to be a bit more tidy, but yeah, I'm just kind of slopping it on. Might be easier to paint this guy if he was sitting on the seat, but this model just ended up being loose, and I was like, well, let's just leave him like that. Paint him like loose. Okay. We'll get the second coat down on that guy later. Let's get his vehicle now. Just trying to make sure there's no dust. For example, this seat here. I'm wondering if I should paint it blue. Should I paint it something else? Actually, not sure, but we'll let it be for now. Just trying to paint in a single direction. And you can see that the paint is pretty thin as I'm applying it here. I'm gonna have to do a couple of coats, 2 to 3 maybe. I'm just trying to go in the same direction. The guns. Goro, bruv. Whoa, these look cool. Are they ships? Yeah, I looked really quickly at the chat, and I thought you said, are those simps? I'm like, huh? Maybe? I don't know if they're simps. Yeah, they're like jet bikes here. I can show you real quick. How's it going, Goro, by the way? What's up? Are you in Montreal right now? This is generally how they look. They have this hood on. Gives them this sleek phallic kind of look. But yeah, that's how they look with that. I took that off just because it'd be easier to paint. You're in your room in Montreal. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So have you done anything interesting during your time in Montreal? I remember you mentioning that. That was like the other day you were driving down there. Oh, shoot. I just realized they keep on saying I want to paint the faces. Yeah, I'll keep on remembering to... I'll try and remember that to get to the eyes. After I do a base coat on this one, I'll switch up and do the eyes. Goro, these designs are great. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Considering they're from like the mid-90s, it's pretty nice, pretty sleek. I mean, I guess that's the main reason why anyone is attracted to any kind of like Warhammer army getting into it. Like at the start, it's not like anyone really knows anything about the lore or about the characters or how well they perform in the game. Usually it's just based off of looks, like what do you like the look of? And yeah, that's what I gravitated towards. I gravitated towards the Eldar because I really like the sleek, almost kind of anime-ish designs of the Eldar, and also there's definitely a hint of like weird alienness to them too, which I liked as well compared to the Space Marines. Space Marines are cool, not gonna hate on them, but yeah, I've always been more into the other stuff, including Eldar and Orcs, and even Tyranids. Yeah, I just liked a lot of different weird stuff from the Eldar. From 40k. Goro, not really. It's 20 below and even more locked down and restricted than Ontario. Really? Damn, that's Whew. That kind of sucks. Did you know that going into your travel plans? Did you know that was going to be this lockdown? 'Cause that would suck if you were expecting it to be one way and then it was another. Okay, yeah, I think we gotta paint the seat a different color just to get some part separation, some separation of colors, get something interesting going on. Kind of making up this color scheme as I go along. I haven't really settled in on anything in particular for a color scheme. Goro, it's like as I go east, the pandemic is more serious. Out west, people care, but cases have stayed so low that they were never that strict. I guess you could say that. So when you're saying west, you mean like when you were in BC? Wow, you've kind of gone coast to coast over the last few years. I was just thinking about just now, but yeah. So would you say that just there's a lot more people out in BC that were kind of just like buying in and kind of cooperating with mandates and just working with one another and being kind of reasonable human beings? Because that would be nice. Yeah, it's pretty nutty out there in Ottawa, especially. I was actually in Ottawa today, but we were kind of like in the suburbs of Ottawa, so not like downtown Parliament, Ottawa. So we didn't really see any of the zaniness that's going on down there. But yeah, sounds like it's getting pretty chaotic. It sucks. Goro? Yeah, Warhammer has great designs and art. I want to grab some of the McFarlane 40k. Yeah. I'll say that the McFarlane 40k models, when it comes to the Space Marines, they look good. And actually, if you're feeling ballsy, they do sell blank 40k models too, like just gray ones for you to just paint yourself. And I've been kind of tempted to do one of those. That might actually be pretty fun. The Space Marines look good. The Necron McFarlane looks okay. Sisters of Battle, good. What else have they made? A Tyrannid, some kind of Tyrannid model, that's okay. But I saw a preview of more more 40k models coming out from Todd McFarlane, and they have plans for some orcs, some 40k orcs, and I was pretty excited, right? Because I like orcs. They're just fun. They're a fun-loving bunch. They're like Ninja Turtles, okay? To relate to you, I guess. They're just a bunch of zany guys that like fighting, that like a good scrap. But unfortunately, they don't look too great to me as when you compare them to the Space Marine ones or anything like that. Yeah, they just don't look as good. Ooh, I've noticed that this jet bike is kind of on an angle, but oh well, too late. I've already pinned it down. But there's actually a different company, Joy Toy. It's a Chinese company and they're producing 40k toys as well, and they're official. They're not like bootleg or anything. Yeah, they're officially licensed, and give those a look. They're actually a smaller scale compared to the McFarlane ones, but they look really good. I fully endorse those ones. Those look really nice. Joy Toy 40k stuff. I don't know how you'd search it, but just like Joy Toy 40k or something like that. Those look really nice. I suspect that they're going to be pretty pricey compared to the McFarlane stuff, and they seem like something you'd have to special order or go to, a very specialized kind of store to get. But they look nice, and they're doing a line of Chaos Marines. You probably really like the Chaos Marines, Goro. They're basically Space Marines but metal. They're like metal as hell. In fact, there's a long history. This is maybe something we could get into a little later, but there's a long history of metal and Games Workshop and Warhammer you're probably familiar with some of the bands, some bands where they've actually employed the artists that work for Games Workshop to do the album art for their for their stuff. The one that comes to mind right now is Bolt Thrower. There's a band called Bolt Thrower, and yeah, that like Bolt Thrower is literally a weapon in Warhammer that I even used as a high elf player. Uh, but yeah, they use art from Warhammer and stuff for their albums, and I'm sure I know for sure there's a bunch of other ones too. Ba ba ba. Goro, it's okay. I just needed a change of scenery, which I got. Yeah, that's good. That's really cool. Yeah, when I heard that you were skipping out on town, I was like, oh, that sounds fun. That sounds cool. You also strike me as the kind of person that needs to kind of really get out and roam a lot. Yeah, which for people like that during the pandemic, of course, it's must be agony, must be hell. I'm the kind of guy that is pretty okay being home. So it's like, oh, they're telling us to be inside for weeks at a time, days at a time. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. Goro, I think the aging community took it seriously before everyone else, and people in BC are generally healthy. So, it's also very sparse and unpopulated for its size. Okay, I gotcha. That's cool. I mean, I appreciate the fact that there was people taking it seriously, for God's sakes. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot to be said about how this whole situation has gone down, and how people have like really exposed themselves and shown their ass, so to speak. There's a lot to be said about that, but I'm not gonna say it right now because I'm just some schmuck painting 30-year-old plastic space elf toys. Yeah, I'm not an expert. Let me see. I'm just trying to take a look here. How the part separation is going down with this model, and what parts need to be colored this particular shade of dark blue. I think that's probably good enough. And let me take a look at this guy. Goro, a lot of life is spent outdoors in BC, and it almost never goes below 0. Damn. Almost never goes below 0. Man, I'd kill for 0 right now. I don't know what we're at right now. Actually, it might not be too bad today. And I can't even imagine. Actually, I can sort of imagine what life would be like in the Northwest Territories. And again, that was something where I was actually looking into that, like watching some videos and watching some people talk about their life in the Northwest Territories. And there's like this program where you can do like a teaching in Iqaluit. I was actually looking into that for a bit, and I always just came back to the idea that it's just agonizingly cold, and some days I feel like I could cope with that. Some days I'm like, I feel like I could handle the cold fairly well, but other days I'm like, no, this sucks, and it's actually breaking my spirit. The cold weather can do that. Okay. Goro Joy Toy looks wicked. Bolt Thrower is wicked. Grindcore. Are you serious? Referring to the metal bands and stuff? Okay, so I said I was going to do the eyes. Let's do the eyes. I have my wet palette here, so it should be fine. Let's get a drink of water. Oh, I don't have water. Oh, I do have water, but I have coffee here as well, so let's get some of that. Joy Toy make a bunch of other toys. all of it is pretty interesting. A lot of military toys or sci-fi kind of toys. Pretty interesting stuff. Okay. So I need brown. Where's my brown? My brown. Where's my paint in general? Nani? Oh, here it is. It's here we are. Goro, just an expression. I know you are serious. That is great though. Makes sense. A lot of death metal, black metal. Hire fantasy painters to do their covers. Yeah, and in fact, I was in a hobby store today. You know, like the kind of hobby store that have like humorous names for their stores, like Dragon's Den or Goblin's Dungeon. This was called the Kobold's Corner, right? A very, very you know, appropriately named kind of place. The kind of place that sells Dungeons and Dragons stuff and Warhammer stuff and comic books. Anyways, I was at this store and the shopkeeper was playing metal, and I was like, yeah, this checks out. This seems like a good place. I feel like I can understand these people. Yeah, just it's a very it's a certain kind of demographic, I guess. It's into Warhammer, into metal and stuff like that. Bacon, what is up, Bacon? How's it going, Bacon? What are you up to these days? What are you saying? Oh, I gotta remember to keep my my painting here in the frame. I'm doing the eyes now. This is the #1 thing that I keep on forgetting to do, is the eyes. You have to do, it's really a good idea to do the eyes first because you haven't really touched anything else and you just started the model, so you're kind of free to mess up if you want. Metal. Yeah, I can't say that I know too much about metal. I have a very, very casual, cursory understanding of metal. But yeah, it's just interesting how there's that intersection of Warhammer and metal, especially that very specific era of Warhammer. A lot of the artwork from John Blanche and others, where it's just like kind of rough and grimy, and there's this dude who's just standing over a pile of corpses and he's shooting out his gun and it's blasting out lasers and stuff. Yeah. And there's a lot of skulls and fire and chains. Yeah, totally, dude. Might book a hotel and stay in Ottawa too. Just keep in mind that there's, I don't know if that protest thing is going on right now. Know what I'm saying? Bacon, play some Lost Judgment right now. You're playing some Lost Judgment? Nice. Are you enjoying that so far? I know you're playing that, and I think Goro was playing that too for a bit. Can't wait till we see some Yakuza 8, guys. That's gonna be fun. Yak 8. Okay, here's the eyes. Woohoo! He looks a little derpy. We can kind of fix it though. We can fix the derpiness. Clean the brush. Goro, I just want to avoid any trouble. You're like Jackie Chan? Don't want any trouble? Where can I get a t-shirt of Jackie Chan saying, please, I don't want any trouble?